Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video I'm going to have a discussion of an important poem, that is Wall, that's written by D.S Dadhakar, and here we shall have the discussion of the important questions from this poem Wall, that's written by a famous Marathi poet D.S Dadhakar. And this poem is prescribed for the second semester BBA BCom Generic English under Bangalore University and Bangalore North University, and I have already done the video on the summary of this poem, so you can see the links of the summary of Wall in the description box, and the other lesson summary also you can go through my playlist or on my channel. So without much delay, let's have the discussion of the important questions from the poem Wall. Now let's discuss the 2 marks questions. Question number 1. What is a contract taken by the poet? The poet has taken a contract to demolish the walls of buildings. The poet wants to demolish the walls of villages also. The poet wants to demolish the walls of villages also. Then according to Dadhakar, the world wars were fought. The world wars were fought for. They were fought for the wall of nations. They were fought for the walls of nations. Then walls are built by whom? Walls are built by grandpas. Grandpas means to say the old generation. Question number 5. Why were the walls hardened? The walls were hardened to protect human beings, plural, WALLS, spelling error. The walls were hardened to protect human beings. Question number 6. The people had raised their hands against these walls before. Is it a true statement or false? Yes, it is absolutely true statement. Then what does the poet want to learn from history? The poet wants to learn from history. What does he want to learn? The history teaches the poet how his eyes entombed in the walls and how his sense of organs become mute like motionless refugees. Then mention the figure of speech in the line like motionless refugees means to say which figure of speech? Obviously simile. Simile. SIMILE, simile. Then question number 9. What should the wall be replaced with? What should the wall be replaced with? The wall should be replaced with the new house. Then who are eligible to live in the new house? Only those people who can endure space wide enough to gallop in such houses, who can create more space for the people to stay there, for the inhabitants to stay there. Only those people are eligible in the new house. Then what is the prayer of the poet? The poet offers a memorial prayer. What's the prayer of the poet? The poet offers a memorial prayer. So these are the 2 marks questions. We have one more question. The compass here stands for the right direction. Compass means to say the right direction with reference to the poem The Wall. Then let's have the discussion of the 5 marks questions with reference to the textbook. How does the speaker wish to demolish the walls? Wall has both literal and metaphorical significance. The wall has both literal and metaphorical significance. Man has created artificial walls. The poet has taken a contract to demolish the walls of buildings and villages' walls also. According to the poet, the world wars were fought for the wall of nations. He would like to demolish these walls as barriers among nations, and these walls are the witness of many generations' attempts to bring up such walls among them. He says that these walls were created by grandpas, which means old generations. It also means that new generation wants to break such walls among human beings. The poet questions if they really need to be so hardened to protect human beings. He suspects the circumstances where human being was protected by such strong built walls. He also mentions that it won't be easy to demolish such walls and it will take time. It will take time. But he emphasizes that once the walls are broken, he will build new house at their place and will allow only those people to live in them, only those people to live in those houses who can accept the openness and spaciousness. So that means to say the narrow-minded thinking should be replaced by the open-mindedness. Then question number 2. What happened to those who raised their hands against the walls? Or what is the picture of the wall the poet had before reading the history? The poet is on a mission to demolish all the walls, but these walls are tough to destroy since they were erected during the time of the grandpas many generations ago. The walls have only hardened in the course of time. The poet wonders why it is necessary to have such hard walls to protect human beings. He says that people who have raised their hands against these walls have been injured or killed, and the others who have done so to the people, now they are ruling over the nations and their flags were posted now. So in this way, such events ended with wars and battles in the history. Question number 3. What will happen after the walls are demolished? The poet has taken a contract to demolish the walls of buildings and villages' walls also. He would like to demolish these walls as barriers among nations. These walls are the barriers among nations, and these walls are the witness of many generations' attempts to bring up such walls among them. The poet would like to break such walls and turn them into a compass, which will direct people instead of building barriers among them, which will show them the right path. The compass will not create a barrier. The poet has taken this task as a job which he wants to accomplish with a special purpose and special manner. He desires to replace the wall with the new houses, which will be very spacious as well as lovely houses. The poet conditions here only those people who can endure space wide enough to gallop in such new houses should live. Otherwise, they can die in the houses which have the walls. He means to say that new houses will be without walls, where the inhabitants can easily breathe, live happily together. The poet would like to offer a memorial prayer and accomplish this job. This is how he would like to demolish, and he would like to create a new beginning. Now we have few questions which for the 10 marks, or we can say the essay type questions. So I thought let's give one single answer which fit, or which is quite fitting answer, which could be quite suitable answer for all these 5 questions. So we have 5 questions here. Explain the metaphoric significance of wall. What are the reflections of the poet about walls? What does the wall signify? Do you think the poet is optimistic at the end of the poem? Discuss the walls are usually built, but here in the poem, the speaker is demolishing the walls. So I explain the paradox. So I have tried to give you one capsule answer, which can be suitable to answer any 5 of these questions. So let's go through it. The answer is quite lengthy, but that will serve the purpose of all the 5 questions. So let's move further. The answer. The poem titled Wall is composed originally in Marathi language by a well-known Marathi poet named D.S Dadhakar. It is translated to English by Priya Adarkar and Ashok Chakravarti. Wall has both literal and metaphorical significance. The world has been divided on the basis of caste, creed, religion, race, color, etc. Man has created artificial walls. In the name of walls, there are violence, discrimination, bloodshed, and death. So now it is a high time to demolish the walls in order to bring the world peace and harmony. So this is the setup of the whole poem Wall here. In the present poem Wall, the poet has taken a contract to demolish the walls of buildings and the walls of villages. According to the poet, the world wars were fought for the walls of nations. He would like to demolish these walls as barriers among nations, and these walls are the witness of many generations' attempts to bring up such walls among them. The poet says that these walls are created by grandpas. That means old generations. It also means that the new generation wants to break such walls among human beings. The poet questions if they really need to be so hardened to protect human beings. He suspects the circumstances where human being was protected by such strong built walls. The poet further mentions that many people had raised their hands against these walls before. In this course, many people had met with death, while others with victory, fluttering flags. History teaches the poet how his eyes entombed in the walls and his sense of organs become mute like motionless refugees. The poet inquires that walls themselves had drugged them with opium and conspiracies. It means that the walls themselves do not want to be demolished, and they conspire among themselves to get more such walls. Due to such walls, people have become slaves to the age and are not bringing the change. So finally, the poet desires to break such walls and turn them into a compass which directs people instead of building barriers among them, which shows the right path. The poet has taken this task as a job which he wants to accomplish with a special purpose and special manner. He desires to replace the wall with the new houses which will be spacious as well as lovely. The poet conditions here only those people who can endure space wide enough to gallop in such new house should give a permission to live. Otherwise, they can die in the houses which have the walls. The poet means to say that the new houses will not have walls where the inhabitants can easily breathe, live happily together. The poet would like to offer a memorial prayer and accomplish this job. He has mentioned very rightly in this poem, and he says, I will offer a memorial prayer and be done with it. So finally, we can say that the poem ends with an optimistic note where the poet is determined to break such walls and build new house without walls, without emotional barriers. Though walls are required to hold the base of a house, but it does not mean that such walls become barriers among nations and among human beings. This paradox has rightly been brought out in this poem by the poet. So friends, this is how I have tried to solve the important questions from the famous poem Wall, which is prescribed for the second semester BCom BBA under Bangalore University and Bangalore North University. I have already done the summary of this poem. You can see the links in the description box. If you like this video, click on the like button, share this video among your friends. If you have not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe. If you have any queries, you can reach me at 𝘾𝙊𝙇𝙊𝙍𝙎@gmail.com. So friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned with Mukesh English. Thank you.